crystia.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. This week has been crazy when it comes to politics. We've seen the end of our current sitting legislature for the summer, taking its holidays, and of course that usually means things are going to slow down, but where things haven't slowed down this week is in the YouTube community of political commentators. And while I'm referring to what happened recently this week, if you haven't heard yet, to fellow political commentator channel, Northern Perspective. Now, Northern Perspective has been around for just a little bit of time. I believe it's just over a year. I could be wrong on that, so please don't quote me on that. But again, following the convoy, a lot of political commentary channels started up. We've seen Northern Perspective be amongst one of those that has reached higher ranks as of late in terms of getting their word out, getting people informed, not just to what's happening in politics, but a little bit different from this channel that tends to regurgitate the news and more educating in terms of how government works, the policies that are going on behind the curtains of the government. Now, if you haven't been aware as to what happened, and again, we're going to get to a clip shortly here, Northern Perspective, Cypher and Fox. Cypher, of course, revealing, and we've known for a while that, of course, he does or did work within the Canadian government, that regardless of his position, had views on what currently was going on with our government. We're talking essentially about freedom of speech. We're talking about the ability to, I guess, air your grievances or at least inform people of what's happening in our government in order to make the world a better place and in order to inform people that may or may not be educated on exactly the inner workings of what's going on. Now, I don't think Northern Perspective has done anything out of line. I don't think they've done anything to deserve what came of their job, but be it, a lot of people have mentioned, well, it was a government job. There are rules. Just like when you work in an office and there's interdating office rules or things like that, these are rules that come with the position. On the other hand, I say that this is censorship. It's all part of trying to essentially put the boots on the necks of those who try to report on or discuss our current layout of political landscape in the country. We've seen it on multiple platforms when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to censorship, when it comes to suppressing of media through Justin Trudeau's anti-censorship bills, or pro-censorship bills, I should say, when it comes to finding independent media outlets through Google searches, when it comes to hate speech online. This is just another form of censorship. This is another way of putting their boots on everyone's necks and saying, you're not allowed to get this information. Now, Northern Perspective has shot up when it comes to their subscriber base. They are now currently sitting at 76,000 subscribers on their channel. Again, I like seeing success amongst the YouTube platform when it comes to getting the message out, getting the word out that this is what our government is doing. This is how terrible the actions of our government are. And again, I'm just going to play a small clip from the announcement video from Northern Perspective. Again, I'll have a link down below. I would highly encourage, it's just over 100,000 views right now. I would encourage everybody, go and watch the whole thing. Send them some love, send them some views their way. If you haven't subscribed to them yet, go give them a subscription. Obviously, Cypher losing his job over telling the truth, over exposing what people need to know within the government. I'm going to play the clip and then we're going to get into it a little bit more. Let's take a listen.
For 18 months, we have worked to expose corruption, inform Canadians, and search for the truth that we all deserve. And we have done this anonymously.
We promised to hide who we were for only as long as necessary. And now that time has come to an end. For over a year, you've known us as Cypher and Fox, the voices behind Northern Perspective. Our real names are Ryan and Tanya, and we're just a regular Canadian family living in the riding of Flamborough-Glanbrook.
Today, we stand before you not just as voices behind a screen, but as ordinary Canadians with a shared passion for truth and justice. Until recently, I worked as a public servant for the federal government. In March of 2024, the Treasury Board Secretariat issued a directive And that directive was ordering all government employees to disclose any side income that they may have to their employer. We believe that our extensive work on the ArriveCan scandal was a direct consequence to this directive being issued. So, as a result of that, I disclosed Northern Perspective to my employer. Shortly after that, I was given a choice. Some would say an ultimatum. Cease all activity with Northern Perspective or exit the organization. Now, this was despite the fact that what we were doing was not illegal, and despite the fact that all activity related to Northern Perspective was on my private time, on my own equipment, and done anonymously. This was despite the fact that I had a distinguished performance record. This was an impossible choice for me and our family. As many of you know, I am the sole income earner in our household. We also have a young autistic son whose therapies are expensive and were being funded by the additional income we earned through Northern Perspective. We have always stood for the right to speak freely, to criticize when necessary, and to hold our leaders accountable. We believe it is the right and the duty of every Canadian to speak out against corruption, and Fox and I believe that we fulfill this duty through our work with Northern Perspective. So on one hand, I have my job with the government that is paying for our bills, paying for our mortgage, paying for all of the other things that Canadians have to pay for, except twice as much under Trudeau. And then we have all of the expenses related to my son's therapy that Northern Perspective pays for. So really, what was the choice? It was cease Northern Perspective, which, yes, it helps contribute to the therapy funding for my son, but it also helps to expose the corruption of this Liberal NDP government. It serves to educate Canadians on Parliament. It serves to call out a multitude of scandals and ensure that our fellow Canadians get to understand how their government works. Because informed citizens is something that the government doesn't like too much. Because informed citizens can hold their government to account.
Now, again, I'm not going to play the entire video because I think Cypher and Fox have a great message to convey here. Again, I'll have a link down below. Go and check out the whole video. Make sure to watch it in its entirety. Let it run in the background. Every view counts on that channel. Again, families of all walks of life face different challenges. And we've seen, while Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh tout for things like dental plans and school lunch programs, when it comes to medical costs, specifically with testing, with different kinds of therapy that your family members need, whether they're elderly or whether they're children, those costs are always expensive. I know in this household, we've recently had to get one of our children tested for a learning deficiency, and the costs are astronomical, the multiples of thousands. I can only imagine what this family has to endure while also undergoing regular bills, the cost of living. We all know right now how expensive it is to live. The biggest problem underlying here is the ultimatum that is given. Now, of course, a company wants you to disclose any other monies. It's no different than incorporating a company. You have to disclose your capital gains, as we've all seen with capital gains tax increases. You have to disclose any income to the government at tax season when things come around. I just do not believe that it's within the government's best interests to say, well, just because you give people a little bit of truth behind what you experience out in the real world, that you should have to choose between your job or between giving people information. This is pro-censorship, and this is Justin Trudeau's new Canada. If you speak out, you're completely crushed and you're smothered under the boot of the dictatorship-style government of Canada. This is where we sit right now. Unacceptable Fringe was born out of a distaste for Justin Trudeau's actions during the Freedom Convoy and has evolved from not only a book company, but into a YouTube organization, now a YouTube channel that exists solely because of this amazing community that we have. Northern Perspective, of course, having another amazing community amongst the YouTube audience. But what we're seeing here is going to be an astronomical challenge for this family moving forward. Again, even for Cypher to find another job, it is going to be taxing because that's on his record, right? It's why did you leave a government job? Why did you cease working for, a nice cushy office job where you get a pension, where you basically are guaranteed your employment? It's going to be difficult for this family, and I think any bit of support we can give them at this time of their hour of need is definitely warranted. Again, I like seeing any channel on YouTube be successful when it comes to getting the message out. This channel was born to get more information out to the public, to make sure that any eyes that are being missed on other channels are getting the stories that are needed in order to educate the public as to why we need to take more care as to where our vote goes when it comes to the government, why accountability is so important, why we have to hold political representatives' feet to the flame when it comes time to question their actions. What's happened to Northern Perspective is a tragedy. I give them my solemnest condolences, and I sincerely hope for nothing more than their success. I wish them all the best. Again, if you haven't checked out Northern Perspective, go give them a subscription. Send some love their way. Let them know that you found them through this channel. If this is in fact the first time you're hearing from them, and let them know that we have them for we're going to support them, we're going to stand behind them, as well as any other creator that's going through a rough patch like this. We never like to see this kind of thing on the platform, especially again with YouTube already being so pro censorship as it is. Let me know what you guys think down below. Again, I know a lot of viewers asked me to cover this. I was going to put out a tweet. I was going to put out a statement of some kind on a community tab. I thought a video would be the best way to get this out. If you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up. It helps push it out in the algorithm. Again, gets the message out there, folks. So leave a comment, leave a thumbs up. If you enjoyed the video, I hope it's earned your subscription to the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to click your bell for notifications. Join me live here on the channel this Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, starting at 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific time. I'll definitely mention this again. I want to make sure everybody is aware as to what's happened here, and everybody is able to do what they can to provide some form of assistance to this family. Again, in terms of your support, your viewership, every little bit helps, ladies and gentlemen. I would not want to be faced with the challenges that this family has ahead of them, nor any family that has difficult times ahead of them at this point. I know, again, in this household, we face those same challenges. It's not fun. It's not fun for anybody right now, and the government has just made things significantly worse for this family. Leave me your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. Again, please go over and check out Northern Perspective. I can't say it enough. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.